Max Scherzer made his return in D.C. yesterday in the second game of the doubleheader on Sunday after being scratched from his start earlier this week due to neck spasms. He did pitch great, 5 innings of 1-run ball, most likely his best outing of the season. But the concern for Scherzer still does continue, as John Heyman did report that Max might be playing through a lingering back and scapula discomfort, most likely for the rest of the entire season. Before being scratched last week, Scherzer said that he is trying like hell to not join the IL. He is fighting through this and doing everything that he can. Max also expressed his concern about the pitch clock impacting the health of veteran pitchers and saying that you just can't break in this new league. Scherzer, 38 years old. We know he's a veteran pitcher, and we talked a little bit about this last week, but this scares the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, they're just put in a really tough spot, and it feels like we've had to, every single episode at this point, we're talking about Max and something that he said and something that's going on with him. Whether it's the back or the neck or the shoulder. I mean, before they said what was going on, nobody really knew what was going on, if he's even going to make this start that he just made on Sunday. And it's like, here he is, 40 years old. We know he's had plenty of injury problems last year. He's already had some injury problems this year. And for him to say, I'm fighting to stay off the IL, sir, it's May. And again, with the way the team was constructed, we were counting on you to be Mad Max, to be a workhorse, to be a guy that goes 6 innings, 7 innings, maybe more every time out there. So that means that you're going to need to throw a lot of pitches in order to do that. And if he's just barely staying healthy and just barely pitching and pitching through an injury, hard to believe that he's going to be able to pull that off throughout the entirety of the season with, again, the lack of rotation depth. That is why I've always been in favor of a 6-man rotation, but you need 6 quality arms to do that. The Mets, for a while, have not even had 3 quality arms. So, I mean, to alone get 3 more, I mean, it just seems crazy right now. So it's just you're kind of hoping for the best at this point, because what else as a fan can you really do but just hope that Max makes it through the year? Because obviously you have this problem, and like we've said all along, what are they going to do about it? Because here's the thing that bothers me. Let's say something does happen to Max Scherzer next start. Knock on wood, it doesn't, but something happens with the back, the neck, shoulder, oblique, whatever, and he's gone for a set period of time. The Mets aren't going to do anything about it. They're just going to call up some bum from the minor leagues that's going to get shelled every 5 days, and they're just going to act like nothing happened and just move on and not make any moves or address it, because they don't. And even, like, you knew that this could happen. We talked about, like, if you just know sports, you have an older player, higher risk of injuries. So if you have a team assembled like that, you should have those backup plans ready to go, quality major league backup plans that they just don't have. So they put themselves in this position with the way they constructed the team, and this is the risk that you take, and you can see what's happening right now. And you know it's a risk, hoping that he stays healthy the whole time.
Yeah, I'm getting really, really frustrated, and I think I've talked about this for like weeks and weeks on end, but it always seems like every single week we are talking about some drama regarding Max Scherzer, and it seems like it should not be as hard as, from what we have heard of him being an established veteran, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And for some reason, when the Mets get him, this is when all this drama completely unfolds. And from what I'm seeing right now, I'm praying that he gets through 5 innings. Like, that's literally just all I'm just hoping that he goes through 5. And that just doesn't seem like the Max Scherzer that you signed up for.
During today's game, I believe it was the 4th inning, he walked into the clubhouse, and I was like, he's done. I thought he was done for the game.
Yeah, same. I thought so.
And then I was like, what happened now? Like, is he hurt again? Like, that's just but he wasn't. He came back out there and finished the start. But that's how it feels right now, where it's like any little thing that happens, like, is he hurt? Because, like, that's how little confidence I have in his body right now. That's the way I feel.
It's just like a china cabinet. Like, that's literally like one sudden movement, one bad trip, and everything just falls. The amount of drama in this first week from Max Scherzer, I mean, let's not forget. I mean, just the injuries and the bang ups and the soreness, whatever. He's 38 years old. You're going to see that. The neck, the back, the oblique, the whatever it is, the sticky substance, whole the whole situation with that, talking about the pitch clock and complaining about that, getting completely shelled and having, all of this stuff.
It's getting very Syndergaard-esque. It just feels like there's an excuse for everything.
Yeah, that's what it does feel like. And, from somebody that is making as much money as he is, I mean, I just don't think that we're getting the sturdy Max Scherzer that we were expected to get. This freak of nature type of fierce competitor, it looks like he's just slowing down. And granted, I would also be talking about this even more angrily or whatever if he did not pitch well today. He did pitch fairly well. His velocity was up, touch 96, looked great, looked like the Max Scherzer that I want. Granted, they did not let him go full on distance, precautionary, whatever, with the neck spasm.
They're up 8-1.
Up 8-1, playing the Nationals. It's a May game. But is this actually going to happen every single start? Am I going to actually see this quality 1 to 2 to 3 run ball from Max Scherzer that we are paying him to give us? And am I going to get that in the playoffs, God forbid, if we actually make it right now? The answer is no, because what I saw in the playoffs, that was not the Max Scherzer that the Mets gave $43 million to. He's on thin ice. He really feels like he is definitely on thin ice. It feels like one of those full-on back and forth debates, like one of those David Peterson versus Tyler McGill debates where they're both on this tightrope together and you just don't know what you're going to get from them. And that's how it feels. It's like, can we string together 3 good starts in a row? Can this guy be healthy for 3 starts in a row? And that's how I feel with Max Scherzer right now. He's proven a lot throughout his career, but in his Mets career, this is a different Max Scherzer than I was definitely expecting when they signed him last offseason. We all know he's had his health scares, but I've never really seen a more damaged Max Scherzer in such little time, in a month, 1 month. And I hope that he's good and he fights through it. He's whatever. But this is definitely going to be a problem if we're just praying for him to get through 5 innings.
And the scariest part is with the way we feel about him this year and the way he's performed this year so far, he's opting in next year. So, it's not one of those things where you could say, oh, at least the last year of his deal, and it'll be $40 million off the books, and the Mets could, get that younger pitcher that we're climbing for. Nope, he'll be here next year. So it's like it's a this year problem, it's a last year problem, it's a next year problem. Like eventually something has, like we said with the offense, something's got to happen. I mean, if I'm praying for him to make healthy this year, I mean, what am I going to expect from him next year when he's another year older? And who knows how many injuries he might have this year that he needs to rehab for next year.
I just feel like they're just walking a tightrope. They're just walking way too much of a tightrope, just throughout this entire rotation. Let's be real for a second. With the injury concerns. And I mean, I understand Verlander's pitched fairly well since he's come in, and he's pitched pretty well.
He was gone a month.
But he's 40 years old. That's what I mean. Like, he's 40 years old. Is that going to hold up throughout the entire season? Is he even going to be healthy when we actually need him to be? We're getting so much uncertainty in the first month and a half. It's scary. It really is scary, especially when you have so much money committed to just these top 2 guys. We're not even talking about the other guys that we're paying, decent back end money like Jose Quintana and like Carlos Carrasco. I mean, this is an expensive team. We need dependability here, and we're just not getting it yet. And hopefully, they shut us up 2 months from now when, down the stretch of the season, they actually are there on the mound, healthy at the same time. But right now, I am really nervous that we are never going to get a time where, or at least just 2 weeks, where Scherzer and Verlander start back to back. And that's very, very scary for how much you're paying them and how much you are investing.